Northeast Live that Eknath Shinde, during this 3 hours of going outside Hotel Radisson Blu, he has met a top legal expert. In fact, highly placed sources have also told us that he has met a prominent retired justice. So that is the biggest point we can tell right now. And after 3 hours, he returned to this hotel, and as it was speculated that he was on his way to Mumbai, he was on his way to Delhi, or he has gone to Kamakhya temple, all those speculations were put to rest when Northeast Live broke the news that Eknath Shinde had gone to a legal expert to weigh legal options now, because as I can say right now that the number in the Eknath Shinde camp is swelling. He has got the support of more than 37 Sena MLAs. So what would be the legal options right now ahead of him? Because on the other side, Uddhav Thackeray's camp is losing more and more MLAs. So talking about the majority, so Eknath Shinde can claim stake that the Shiv Sena is under him right now. So that is the point probably which Eknath Shinde has gone to seek legal assistance from a prominent retired justice. So that was the biggest activity of the day. So another big event that happened today is one more rebel MLA of the Shiv Sena, Dilip, had gone out of this hotel, and he also came here, and the camp number in the Eknath Shinde camp.
So Arindam, any inputs on how many more days the rebel MLAs may be camping here in Guwahati?
Yes, I can say right now that around 45 rebel MLAs are camping here at Hotel Radisson Blu. 37 of them are from Shiv Sena, and the rest are independent MLAs who are
all
also
right,
pledging
Arindam
support.
Das, thank you so much for all those details. Meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is in Delhi for the presidential poll nomination, maintained that anyone is welcome in Assam and even invited Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray to Assam.
कि आप असम की बात पे ध्यान देके हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हैं।
आपका मुंह से सुना कि और पहुंच रहा है, तो और भी पूरा देश का जितना विधायकगण है सबको मैं आमंत्रित करता हूं, असम में आइए।
वो कह रहे हैं कि आप अगर खुद मुख्यमंत्री, आपको कोalition का धर्म आपको फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर समझना चाहिए, इस तरह से नहीं करना चाहिए।
मैं होटल में लोग आने से बंद कर दूंगा तो कैसा फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है? कल आप होटल बुक करेगा और मैं मना करूंगा कि देश में फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर चल रहा है और असम का होटल में आप मत आइए, तो ये थोड़े फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर इसको बोलता है।
कितना दिन में सरकार बन जाएगी
मेरा पता नहीं है, लेकिन असम में जितना दिन रहेगा मेरे लिए खुशी का बात है कि रहिए। मैं सबको बुलाता हूँ, सब आइए असम।
आप उद्धव ठाकरे जी से क्या कहना चाहेंगे सर?
आप भी वेकेशन में आइए असम।
Meanwhile, the Assam Congress staged protests outside Hotel Radisson Blu, demanding the rebel Maharashtra MLAs to leave the state. So you can see on your screens, Assam Congress staged protests just outside the Radisson Blu Hotel, demanding rebel Maharashtra MLAs to leave the state. As you can also see, Bhupen Bora, Debabrata Saikia, all the members of the Congress, they are protesting outside the hotel, and they are demanding that the rebel MLAs should leave Assam immediately.
ज्यादा आदमी वो भी बांध पानी के के लिए भुगत रहा है। और असम and the money politics from Assam, we ask the Maharashtra people to go back to Maharashtra.
असम कांग्रेस का प्रेसिडेंट
Meanwhile, Maharashtra Chief Minister and Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray today reached out to the functionaries of his party, which is currently battling a rebellion. Despite the rebellions that the party has faced earlier, it came to power twice. Well, it may have left the chief minister's official residence, but not my determination, Uddhav Thackeray said. Well, Thackeray also lashed out at rebel MLA Eknath Shinde, daring him not to use Bala Saheb Thakur's name. So, viewers, Maharashtra Chief Minister and Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray today reached out to functionaries of his party, which is currently battling a rebellion. And despite the rebellions that the party has faced earlier, it came to power twice. Well, Uddhav Thackeray said, I may have left the Chief Minister's official residence, but not my determination, Uddhav Thackeray said. Listen in. Also, he mentioned that he also lashed out at rebel MLA Eknath Shinde, daring him not to use Bala Saheb Thakur's name. And meanwhile, a Shiv Sena worker was arrested outside the Radisson Blue Hotel in Guwahati. Mostly, who is being described as an emissary sent by Uddhav Thackeray, was arrested by the police outside the Radisson Blue Hotel, where the rebel MLAs are camped. Mostly was standing with a placard outside the hotel, calling out the rebels to reconcile with Uddhav Thackeray when he was arrested. Sanjay Bhosle has come all the way from Maharashtra to Guwahati and was standing outside the Radisson Blue Hotel, holding a placard and appealing to the rebel Sena MLAs to return and reconciliate with the Uddhav camp. Meanwhile, our Chief of Bureau Arindam Das caught up with Sanjay Bhosle today before he was arrested. So, viewers, let's take a look at this exclusive conversation with Sanjay Bhosle just moments before his arrest.
आज सुबह होटल रेडिसन ब्लू के बाहर एक अलग ही नज़ारा देखने को मिल रहा है। एक शिव सैनिक आए हैं सतारा जिले से, यहाँ से करीबन 3000 किलोमीटर दूर से आए हैं। पहले आप अपना परिचय दीजिए और यहाँ पे क्यों आए हैं हमको बताइए।
मैं सतारा जिला से आया हूँ। सतारा जिला का मैं शिवसेना का उप जिला प्रमुख हूँ। एकनाथ शिंदे साहब जो यहाँ ठहरे हैं वो सतारा जिला के सुपुत्र है और मैं उसी जिले का सुपुत्र हूँ। मैं यहाँ सिर्फ ये बताने आया हूँ, उनको ये कहने आया हूँ कि आप वापस चलो। माननीय शिवसेना प्रमुख बाला साहब ठाकरे के जो अंतिम शब्द थे कि मेरे उद्धव और आदित्य को साथ दो, तो वो शब्द स्मरण करके आप वापस आओ।
तो आपको क्या लगता है क्या हो रहा है अंदर?
अंदर क्या हो रहा है, सत्ता का सारीपाट चल रहा है, मेरे को कुछ मालूम नहीं है। मैं सत्ता के लिए कुछ बोलने वाला नहीं हूँ। मैं सिर्फ कहने आया हूँ कि वो कट्टर शिव सैनिक है, मैं कट्टर शिव सैनिक हूँ। वो बाला साहब ठाकरे के भक्त है, माननीय दिगे साहब के भक्त है। मैं भी बाला साहब ठाकरे और माननीय दिगे साहब का भक्त हूँ। उनको शिव सैनिकों ने अपना पसीना बहाकर बहुत बड़ा किया है। हमारे शिव सैनिकों की ताकत पर वो बड़े हुए हैं। वो शिव सैनिकों के साथ रहे, यही मेरी आखिरी ख्वाहिश है।
तो आपका नाम बताइए और आप अकेले आए हैं?
देखिए, आसाम महाराष्ट्र से बहुत दूर है और शिव सैनिक बहुत गरीब रहता है। शिव सैनिक का जो एकनाथ शिंदे यहाँ आए, जो जितने भी यहाँ एमएलए, वो पूरे गरीबी से यहाँ एमएलए बने। इनके पास भी कुछ नहीं था, लेकिन बाला साहब ठाकरे की ताकत, आशीर्वाद, दिगे साहब के ताकत, आशीर्वाद से ये बने हैं। ऐसे ही ये हमारे जैसे ही पहले थे। मैं इतना ही कहने आया हूँ, आपको हम ताकत दे रहे, आप शिवसेना में चलो।
एकनाथ शिंदे तो बोल रहे हैं कि उनको ये स्टेप इसलिए लेना पड़ा क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं शिवसेना के जो प्रमुख है उद्धव ठाकरे, वो अपने आइडियोलॉजी से भटक गए, जो हिंदुत्व के आइडियोलॉजी है, क्योंकि वो एनसीपी और कांग्रेस के साथ हो गए हैं, जो हिंदुत्व को नहीं प्रमोट करते।
पूरे देश को मालूम है हिंदू हृदय सम्राट शिवसेना प्रमुख बाला साहब ठाकरे का हिंदुत्व। जब बाबरी का ढांचा गिरा था, तब भी शिवसेना प्रमुख बाला साहब ठाकरे ने कहा था, जो अगर ये मेरे शिव सैनिकों ने गिराया होगा तो वो मुझे उनसे गर्व है। तभी हम जैसे शिव सैनिक, एकनाथ भाई जैसे शिव सैनिक ही अयोध्या गए थे और जाकर वहां ढांचा गिराया था। और उनका बेटा उद्धव ठाकरे, शिवसेना प्रमुख बाला साहब ठाकरे का बेटा उद्धव ठाकरे, इतना बाला साहब ठाकरे की प्रताड़ना कर नहीं सकता, सबको मालूम है। लेकिन सत्ता की सारी पार्ट में ये चल रहा है, सत्ता के सारी पार्ट में बहकाकर इनको यहाँ लाया गया है और एक गलत शब्द बयान कर रहे हैं। मैं इतना ही कहने वाला हूँ, ये कुछ भी हो, आप कोई बनो, कोई मुख्यमंत्री बनो, कुछ बनो, लेकिन आप मातोश्री चलो। बाला साहब ठाकरे के अंतिम शब्द थे कि मेरे उद्धव आदित्य को साथ दो, आप उद्धव आदित्य को साथ दो।
तो आपको क्या लगता है, आपको अंदर जाने देंगे? आपको ये जो आप मैसेज लेके आए हैं उनके पास पहुंचने देंगे? और कोई शिव सैनिक और आ रहे हैं क्या यहाँ पे?
देखिए, मैं छोटा शिव सैनिक हूँ, लेकिन मैं शिवसेना के विचार उनके पास लाया हूँ, इतनी दूर आया हूँ, शिवसेना की ताकत से, उनके खर्चे से आया हूँ। मेरा इतना ही कहना है, मुझे अंदर जाने दे ना जाने दे, आपके मीडिया के माध्यम से तो उनको समझ गया है कि मेरे को क्या बोलने का है। मैंने बाला साहब ठाकरे के शब्द को यहाँ दोहराया है, वो दोहराया है, वो स्मरण करे और वापस चले।
एकनाथ शिंदे तो अभी दावे कर रहे हैं कि शिवसेना तो अब उनके पार्टी है, क्योंकि उनके पास ज्यादा शिव सैनिक है।
देखिए, सत्ता में किसके पास एमएलए है, किसके पास नहीं है, इसका मेरे को कुछ लेना देना नहीं, वो वापस आए।
और भी आएंगे शिव सैनिक?
आएंगे आएंगे। अभी ऐसा चला तो शिवसैनिक कहा भी जा सकते हैं।
कितने आएंगे?
उसकी उसकी संख्या नहीं बता सकते, लेकिन शिवसैनिक कहा भी घुस सकते, कहा भी जा सकते।
तो अभी आप क्या करेंगे यहाँ पे?
मैं तो यहाँ रुकने वाला हूँ, जब तक यहाँ का जो सोच और मालूम नहीं होता तब तक मैं यहाँ रुकने वाला हूँ।
तो ये थे संजय भोसले, उप जिला सभापति सतारा जिले से शिवसेना के, जो यहाँ पे होटल रेडिसन ब्लू के बाहर खड़े हैं और ये एक ही मैसेज लेके आए हैं कि एकनाथ शिंदे और उनके साथ जो भी बागी एमएलए है उनके साथ महाराष्ट्र वापस जाए और उद्धव ठाकरे से बातचीत करे।
And shifting focus now. IPS officer Tapan Kumar Deka has been appointed as the Director of Intelligence Bureau today. Deka will replace Arvinda Kumar as the Director of Intelligence Bureau. Tapan Kumar Deka currently heads the operations desk of the Intelligence Bureau and has been tracking terrorist and religious radicalization for the past 2 decades. Deka, a 1988 batch IPS officer of the Himachal Pradesh cadre, is essentially an expert on Northeast affairs and was sent to Assam by Home Minister Amit Shah after the anti-CAA violence in 2019. By appointing Tapan Deka as the Director of Intelligence Bureau, the government has picked up an officer over some 4 seniors in the Intelligence Bureau with the objective of adding more teeth to the Intelligence Bureau. So, IPS officer Tapan Kumar Deka has been appointed as the Director of Intelligence Bureau today. And moving on to Meghalaya now. Well, Shillong witnessed yet another protest against the centre's new recruitment scheme for defense forces in the country. Hundreds of army job aspirants today staged a sit-in demonstration demanding immediate rollback of the recently launched Agnipath military recruitment scheme outside the Shillong Civil Hospital. The youth also held a protest rally demanding common entrance examination and army recruitment rally to be conducted at the earliest. The aspirants said that the exams are pending since 2021 and were repeatedly cancelled on the pretext of COVID 19. Furthermore, the aspirants claimed that they were recently informed that the exams have been cancelled due to the implementation of the centre's new recruitment scheme, Agnipath scheme.
As the youth of Meghalaya here, we are all about 800, I think, total for all of us, all Meghalaya have selected for the medical. But not here for here, I think only 50 plus we are here. So we demand for the government to take responsibility for us to conduct this CE exam, because we, the youth, we really want from our bottom of our heart, really, I can see that we want to be in the Indian Army. So we try our best, as we know we have worked some hard to pass out for the physical and medical also. But we are still waiting for the written exam. But now we have been cancelled. So that's why we are here to demand for that, the CE exam, common entrance exam for the Indian Army.
All are here, all those boys from all over the district, from Garo Hills, West, Khasi, and all district. We are here to protest against the exam that we had that been cancelled for us in Indian Army, CE exam, common entrance exam. So this exam should be held in 2021 on the date of 30 May. From that day, the exam been cancelled every month, like they have been postponed. And they said that due to coronavirus, your exam has been postponed. But we came to ZRO many times, like 10 times, 15 times. We come to ZRO, we asked, when sir, where will be our exam? He said, your exam will be held soon, so go and prepare for your exam. They said like that. But few days before, we asked, sir, what Agnipa scheme have been come? So what about our exam? Oh, we think that your exam will be cancelled. How come our exam should be cancelled? Because we have not given this rally through the Agnipa scheme. So this is not the right of the government that should cancel our exam.
Well, it may be mentioned here that Shillong, which is headquarters to several important military, air force, and paramilitary forces, saw similar agitation just the past Monday, the 20th, over the Agnipat recruitment policy, as hundreds of aspirants seeking jobs in the Indian Armed Forces took to the streets in protest. And shifting focus to Assam floods now. Well, the flood situation in Assam continues to be grim, with over 45 lakh people affected in as many as 30 districts of the state. Despite a let up in rainfall, many parts of the state are still inundated. Situation also continues to be critical in several districts, especially those in the Barak Valley, where people in town areas are largely dependent on relief materials being supplied by the rescue workers. And on your screens are the visuals from Nagaon. So there you can see the flood situation is Nagaon is still grim, and the flood waters. You can see the people out there; they are still inundated by the flood waters in Nagaon. So on your screens are the visuals from Nagaon. All right. So on your screens, these are the visuals from Kanpur. So flood situation in Kanpur is also quite grim, and the houses are still inundated with flood waters. Meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today discussed the prevailing flood situation in the state with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the sidelines of the nomination filing of presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu, Sharma briefed the Prime Minister on the relief operations. Prime Minister Modi reiterated that the centre fully stands with the Assam government in dealing with the flood crisis. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Sharma, after his meeting with Prime Minister Modi, said that the centre is ready to extend all possible help to the flood hit state.
Have you met the Prime Minister of India?
We met and we discussed certain things also. আৰু মই ভাবোঁ যে অসমত যোৱাকালি প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী নৰেন্দ্ৰ মোদী ডাঙৰীয়াই অসমৰ ফ্লাডৰ ওপৰত এটা দীঘলীয়া টুইটো কৰিছে, বিবৃতিও দিছে, আৰু ভাৰত চৰকাৰৰ পৰা আমি যিমান সহায় পাব লাগে আমি পাই থাকিম।
Any discussion regarding special package for
পেকেজ আমাকতো নালাগে, পেকেজ আমাক লাগিব দলং বনাব, ৰাস্তা বনাব, মথাউৰি বনাব, এইটো পানী কমিলেহে আমি গম পাম। গতিকে এইটো এটা পেকেজ শব্দত যাব নালাগে, যি লাগে সেইটোকে দিব।
So, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today discussed the prevailing flood situation in the state with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And as we already heard, while speaking to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the sidelines of the nomination filing of presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu, Sharma briefed the Prime Minister on the relief operations. Prime Minister Modi reiterated that the centre fully stands with the Assam government in dealing with the flood crisis. And Chief Minister Sharma, after meeting with Prime Minister Modi, said that the centre is ready to extend all help. Meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma thanked Reliance Industries Chairman and MD Mukesh Ambani and Anand Ambani for standing with the people of Assam at this hour of crisis. Ambani has donated rupees 25 crore to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. So we was Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma thanked Reliance Industries Chairman and MD Mukesh Ambani and Anand Ambani for standing with the people of Assam at this hour of crisis. Well, Ambani has donated rupees 25 crore to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. And the flood situation in Barak Valley is still critical with little or no improvement in things. Silchar town continues to be inundated with relief materials being airdropped by the Indian Air Force. A body was seen floating on the outskirts of Silchar. Meanwhile, the NDRF and SDRF are working round the clock. So the flood situation in Barak Valley is still critical with little or no improvement in things. And meanwhile, Silchar town continues to be inundated with relief materials being airdropped by the Indian Air Force. A body was seen floating on the outskirts of Silchar. And meanwhile, the NDRF and SDRF are working round the clock. Meanwhile, the wildlife has also been affected by the deluge. This python that you can see on your screens at this point in time was rescued from Badarpur area. All right, more, we are being joined over phone line with our correspondent from Silchar, Bikram Sarkar. So, Bikram, first of all, tell us about the flood situation where we are getting reports that the army today intensified relief operations. So, what inputs do you have on this, Bikram?
Yes, Priya, we have seen that the helicopters of Indian Air Force is moving all around. Yesterday, we've seen airdropping of relief to some of the spots. And today also we have seen the helicopters were moving, but so far no information of airdropping we have, as because there are some difficulties coming in dropping the relief. They're not getting a proper spaces to drop the food, Priya.
So, Bikram, the biggest crisis is that of drinking water supply. So, how are the authorities addressing that?
Well, Priya, first of all, I would like to say that from past many days, the day this flood happened, people they tried to go to a safest place, which was failed by the administration to provide them that. And second thing, which is the most important thing, is of drinking water. We are getting calls after calls that they are helpless. They are not getting connected to the administration to ask for the water. We have seen some of the NGOs, even some of the representatives, they going to provide water, but that is not enough. But as we know that it's a huge area, so it is getting problem for the people to get the water. They are crying for, but this is the major issue that they are facing. Administration from their side, they are just giving a hope to the people that they will reach out to them, but these hopes are not getting fulfilled as per we have seen so far, Priya.
So, Bikram, have the water levels receded a bit, and has electricity supply improved?
Well, in two areas, we came to know that just half an hour back in Shillongpoti area and at College Road, the electricity has been resumed. But most of the part of Silchar town and the urban area are still under darkness. And if you talk about the water level, the Barak is still steady at 21.47, and there is no dropping or going out of the inside water. It is still flowing inside the town, Priya.
And Bikram, what about the mobile connectivity?
That is the people are facing problem. This is the major problem. Even they are not getting to charge their phones. There are many of the connections. Many of the connections is not working. Not even the internet is working. Connectivity is very poor. It's very poor. Somehow people are trying to get in touch with their own near and dear ones, and as a whole, it is disrupted people are getting far from any of the concerned departments.
All right, Bikram Sarkar, thank you so much for all those details. And time for a very short break now. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
आगे बढ़ने का गर्व, जीतने का गर्व, किसी की खुशियां भरने का गर्व, देश को सुरक्षित रखने का गर्व। ऐसे ही हजारों गर्व के पलों से जुड़ा हुआ है टाटा शक्ति, क्योंकि जब आप जीते हैं गर्व से, हम जीते हैं गर्व से।
मैं व्यवहार करूँ आटातके सबल और सतेज सीमेंट सूर्या सीमेंट अटूट घर अटूट अखम।
A university is much more than just a place to get your education. It not only helps you build your career, but also your personality and mindset. At Assam Royal Global University, you will get the most suitable environment to gain knowledge and also grow as a person. The university has the best infrastructure with all the required facilities and best quality equipment for any kind of educational need.
সুগন্ধ ৰং আৰু সোৱাদ খাতি এভৰিডে জিভাত দিয়ে আসল জুতি এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ 100% টেষ্ট এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ বেষ্ট
News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime every day at 7 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching Evening Prime and moving on to Manipur now. The Manipur Congress today termed the government's decision to stop the border fencing along the international border with Myanmar as a farce. Well, briefing newspersons, Manipur Congress Vice President Hareshwar Goswami questioned the intent of the state government and thinks that it is only a bid to pacify the protests. While the row has escalated over fencing along the border pillars 81 and 82, the Congress leader said that the dispute is prevalent in vast areas along the international border. It needs to be mentioned that an order was passed by the government to stop the ongoing border fencing works, especially after delegates of the United Committee in Manipur met Chief Minister Ren Biren Singh yesterday.
Yesterday, Honorable CM of Manipur, Shri Biren Singh, have stated that fencing at those areas where there is dispute will be stopped. This is, anyway, a good step, but to us, it seems to be a bluff to the people, bluff to the state, because the disputed area is not only the area where border pillar number IT and IT1 is situated. There are also many other places where dispute is still there. Honorable Minister's statement that this will be stopped only at the place where border pillar number IT1 and the IT2 is situated is quite unacceptable to Manipur Pradesh Congress Committee, and it would be also to the people of Manipur.
And on to national focus now. Draupadi Murmu, the BJP-led NDA's pick for president, filed her nomination today, and with a host of ruling party and alliance leaders on hand to endorse her application. Murmu was accompanied by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and senior leaders of the ruling party, including BJP President JP Nadda, Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, several chief ministers, as well as leaders of supporting parties who accompanied Murmu as she filed her nomination papers for the July 18 presidential election. Prime Minister Modi, who was her first proposer, handed over the set of papers to returning officer. The BJP had prepared 4 sets of nominations for Murmu's candidature. Besides, YSR Congress's V. Vijay Sai Reddy and BJP leader Sasmeet Patra, who were not part of the alliance, were also in parliament to back her nomination. Every set of nomination has to have 50 proposers and 50 seconders among elected representatives. If elected, Murmu will be the first woman tribal leader and the second woman in the post. At 64, Draupadi Murmu will also be the youngest president ever, second only to N. Sanjeeva Reddy, who was a few days elder to her when he became the president. She is the first presidential candidate from Odisha of a major political party or alliance. She was also the first woman governor of Jharkhand and served as Jharkhand governor from 2015 to 2021.
প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী নৰেন্দ্ৰ মোদী ডাঙৰীয়াৰ নেতৃত্বত আজি ভাৰতৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতিৰ প্ৰাৰ্থী হিচাপে শ্ৰীমতী দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুৰ মনোনয়ন পত্ৰ দাখিল কৰা হয়। অসমৰ বাবে এটা বিশেষ আমি পজিটিভ নিউজ বুলি ভাবিম যে আমাৰ অসমৰ যথেষ্ট আদিবাসী সম্প্ৰদায়ৰ লোক আছে। আদিবাসী কমিউনিটিৰ পৰাই বা জনজাতীয় ৰাইজৰ ফালৰ পৰা দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুৱে প্ৰথমবাৰৰ বাবে ভাৰতৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতিৰ আসন অধিষ্ঠিত কৰিব। তেখেত এগৰাকী শিক্ষয়িত্ৰী, মন্ত্ৰী আছিলে, ৰাজ্যপাল আছিলে। মই ভাবোঁ যে ভাৰতীয় গণতন্ত্ৰৰ বাবে শ্ৰীমতী দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতি পদত আৰোহণ এক সোণালী ক্ষণ হ'ব। It will be considered as a golden moment in the history of our democracy.
Well, I'm extremely thrilled. And it's something that has been a part of our kind of ideology. And it's something that my late father, Mr. P.S. Sangma, had also contested the presidential election. And he had once said that one day there will be a tribal person who will become the president of this country. And I think it's kind of a dream come true for all of us. So I'm very happy and excited, and we have full support for the candidature. I think it's not about politics anymore. It's really about sending the message of inclusiveness and letting a strong message go to the whole country that when it comes to important issues like these, and especially when it comes to a candidate like this, that we are all united and one.
पहली बार वुमेन्स और ट्राइबल जो एनडीए का जो उम्मीदवार हो रहा है भारत की सबसे ऊंचे प्रेसिडेंट पोस्ट के लिए अपने ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में इसको हम सब ने इसको विदाउट अपोजिशन बनाना चाहिए और अपने नॉर्थ ईस्ट का खास करके मणिपुर का तो हम सब दलों को मिलके राष्ट्रपति जी को बनाने के लिए हम बहुत दे रहे हैं। सर अपोजिशन में भी हम अपील कर रहा हूँ कि जैसे ये हिस्ट्री में पहली बार हुआ है, ऐसे एक ट्राइबल नारी को इतना ऊंचा पद में रखने के लिए प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी का और एनडीए का जो है निर्णय है, इसको समर्थन करने के लिए हम ऑपोजिशन लोग को भी हम रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं।
So there you have heard Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma calls it a golden moment, Draupadi Murmu's candidature, and it's a dream come true for Congress Sangma as well. As we have already mentioned, as you've heard, that it was a late P.S. Sangma's dream to have a woman candidate, a tribal candidature as a presidential candidate. So you have heard that all the Northeastern Chief Minister, they are in support of Draupadi Murmu's candidature. Moving on now. Well, the Supreme Court today dismissed a petition filed by deceased Congress leader Ehsan Jaffrey's widow Zakia Jaffrey that questioned the clean chit given by the Special Investigation Team to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and 63 others for their alleged role in the 2002 Gujarat riots violence. Ehsan Jaffrey was killed during the violence at Gulbarg Society in Ahmedabad on February 28, 2002. The apex court had reserved its order on a petition filed by Zakia Jaffrey against the Gujarat High Court's order rejecting her plea against the SIT decision, giving a clean chit to Prime Minister Modi, who was the Gujarat Chief Minister in 2002, and 63 others in December last year. Senior advocate Mukul Rohtagi, who appeared for the SIT, told the bench that the Supreme Court should endorse the trial court and the Gujarat High Court's decision on Jaffrey's plea. Otherwise, it would result in an endless exercise that would go on because of some motives of social activist Tista Settlebud, who is petitioner number 2 in the petition. Well, Kapil Sibal, who appeared for Zakia Jaffrey, told the top court that the SIT did not conduct an investigation but did a collaborative exercise, and its probe was fraught with omissions to protect conspirators. Well, he also said that the officials of SIT as well as the police were rewarded handsomely. The court appointed special investigation team or SIT had submitted its closure report in February 2012, a decade after the riots, and exonerated Prime Minister Narendra Modi and 63 others, citing no prosecutable evidence. And on to Mizoram now. In a huge crackdown, search a battalion of 23 Sector Assam Rifles yesterday recovered methamphetamine tablets worth a whopping rupees over 1 crore from Zokhauthar area of Champhai district of Mizoram. The team arrested 3 peddlers and seized 51,000 tablets weighing approximately 4.7 kgs. It may be mentioned here that the operation was carried out by a team of 8 Assam Rifles based on specific information. Besides, the seized consignment and the arrested were handed over to Champhai police for further investigation. So, search a battalion of 23 Sector Assam Rifles yesterday recovered methamphetamine tablets worth a whopping rupees over 1 crore from Zokhauthar area of Champhai district in Mizoram. And meanwhile, the team arrested 3 peddlers and seized 51,000 tablets weighing approximately 4.7 kgs. Meanwhile, a mass awareness run against drug abuse was held at Aizawl today. Students from 10 colleges were selected from Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan cells from their respective colleges. Well, this event was organized by the Department of Social Welfare and Tribal Affairs following the request from the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, to mark the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking that falls on June 26th. Well, kicking off the event, an oath-taking pledge was read at the start of the program, with department officials talking about drug abuse and its harmful effects. Meanwhile, students were excited to take the pledge and made promises that they would never indulge in substance abuse. The 2-kilometer run began early morning with the students turning clear-cut messages and stickers on their t-shirts as a way to propagate the message against drug abuse. And in a bid to make Arunachal drug-free, 2,054 kgs of seized cannabis were destroyed today by Belamu police under Kalaktang subdivision in West Kaming district. Superintendent of Police B. Bharat Reddy appealed to the public and local authorities to put forward their support in making Arunachal Pradesh a drug-free state. He further warned those involved in such activities and said that they will not be spared. Circle Officer Baloj Shakak, an officer in charge of Balemu Police Station, DT Karma, also urged the public to be cautious and vigilant on such activities. The duo further urged the local authorities and NGOs to organize awareness to eliminate drugs and people involved in its trade and consumption. Besides, office in charge Karma informed the seizure of 9 cases under Balemu Police Station, of which 2,054 kgs has been destroyed officially. And in some other stories now. Today is the third day of the Ambubachi Mela. Devotees continue turning up in large numbers for the holy occasion at the premises of Kamakhya Temple in Guwahati. In spite of the Mela being held in a rather low-key manner, people are still turning up in large numbers to seek the blessings of the Mother Goddess. The Mela is set to conclude on June 26 at 8:14 a.m.
कैसा लग रहा है यहाँ 2 साल
बहुत
बंद
अच्छा
था
लगा
यहाँ
है। मैं जीवन में मैंने 12 ज्योतिर्लिंग किया, हर जगह गया मैं, लेकिन कामाख्या माई ने मुझे पहली बार बुलाया। मैं भजन गाता हूँ पिछले 20 साल से और माई की कृपा से पूरे देश में मेरा भजन बजता है और बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। आप आश्रम की बहुत अच्छी व्यवस्था है और आप लोगों की बहुत अच्छी मीडिया नंबर 1 है। मैं देख रहा हूँ एक एक पल पल पे मीडिया की न्यूज़ है और वो होना भी चाहिए।
And on to COVID update now. Well, India reported 17,336 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours, the highest daily figure reported since February 20th, as the country is witnessing an upward tick in infections amid fears of a new wave. Now, with this surge, the total number of coronavirus infections in the country has climbed to 4,33,62,294. According to Union Health Ministry data, the number of active cases increased to 88,284 in the country. India also reported 13 new COVID-related deaths in the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of fatalities to 5,24,954. The active cases comprise 0.19% of the total infections. The national COVID-19 recovery rate was recorded at 98.60%, the Health Ministry said. Active cases have increased by 4,294 in a span of just 24 hours. Well, the daily positivity rate was recorded at 3.94% and the weekly positivity rate at 2.90%. And on to international focus now. Well, US senators advanced a bipartisan bill late on Thursday addressing the epidemic of gun violence convulsing the country, approving a narrow package of new firearms restrictions and billions of dollars in mental health and school security funding. The reforms, which are almost certain to be rubber stamped by the House of Representatives on Friday, fall short of the demands of gun safety advocates and President Joe Biden, but have been hailed as a life saving breakthrough after almost 30 years of inaction by Congress. The bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which was backed by all 50 Democratic senators and 15 Republicans, includes enhanced background checks for buyers under the age of 21, $11 billion in funding for mental health, and $2 billion for school safety programs. It also provides funding to incentivize the states to implement red flag laws to remove firearms from people considered a threat. And it closes the so called boyfriend loophole under which domestic abusers could avoid a ban on buying firearms if they were not married to or living with their victim. Well, the Senate and House are on a 2-week recess starting next week, but the Democratic controlled House is expected to approve the Senate's bill with little drama before members leave town on Friday night. All right, viewers, now coming back to the top story. Well, the flood situation in Assam continues to be grim with over 45 lakh people affected in as many as 30 districts of the state. Despite a let-up in rainfall, many parts of the state are still inundated. Situation also continues to be critical in several districts, especially those in the Barak Valley, where people in town areas are largely dependent on relief materials being supplied by their rescue workers. Well, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today discussed the prevailing flood situation in the state with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the sidelines of the nomination filing of presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu, Sharma briefed the Prime Minister on the relief operations. Prime Minister Modi reiterated that the centre fully stands with the Assam government in dealing with the flood crisis. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Sharma, after his meeting with Prime Minister Modi, said that the centre is ready to extend all possible help to the flood-hit state.
Have you met Prime Minister of India?
We met and we discussed certain things also. আৰু মই ভাবোঁ যে অসমত যোৱাকালি প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী নৰেন্দ্ৰ মোদী ডাঙৰীয়াই অসমৰ ফ্লাডৰ ওপৰত এটা দীঘলীয়া টুইটো কৰিছে, বিবৃতিও দিছে আৰু ভাৰত চৰকাৰৰ পৰা আমি যিমান সহায় পাব লাগে আমি পাই থাকিম।
Any discussion regarding special package for
পেকেজ আমাকতো নালাগে, পেকেজ আমাক লাগিব দলং বনাব, ৰাস্তা বনাব, মথাউৰি বনাব, এইটো পানী কমিলেহে আমি গম পাম। গতিকে এইটো এটা পেকেজ শব্দত যাব নালাগে, যি লাগে সেইটোকে দিব।
Meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma thanked Reliance Industries Chairman and MD Mukesh Ambani and Anand Ambani for standing with the people of Assam at this hour of crisis. Ambani has donated rupees 25 crore to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. Meanwhile, the flood situation in Barak Valley is still critical with little or no improvement in things. Silchar town continues to be inundated with relief materials being airdropped by the Indian Air Force. A body was seen floating on the outskirts of Silchar. Meanwhile, the NDRF and SDRF are working round the clock. Well, news and updates continue on Northeast Live, so stay tuned for more news. Thanks for watching.
The most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
Build your dream at the Assam Royal Global University. Success is not an overnight phenomenon. You need to work hard and go through the grind every day to achieve what you want. Engineer, fashion designer, or someone working in the field of medical science, or the CEO of your own company, you can dream anything and make that happen here at the Assam Royal Global University.
মই ব্যৱহাৰ কৰোঁ আটাইতকৈ সবল আৰু সতেজ চিমেণ্ট সূৰ্য চিমেণ্ট। সূৰ্য চিমেণ্ট অটুট ঘৰ অটুট অসম।
সুগন্ধ ৰং আৰু সোৱাদ খাতি এভৰিডে জিভাত দিয়ে আচল জুতি। এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ 100% টেষ্ট। এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ বেষ্ট।
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m. News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m.
Northeast Live.
नमस्कार, हिंदी हेडलाइंस के साथ मैं रविंद्र चौहान। आज इस बुलेटिन में देखेंगे दिल्ली पहुंचे असम के मुख्यमंत्री ने महाराष्ट्र संकट और बाढ़ को लेकर क्या कहा। बात करेंगे मणिपुर में बार बार निशाना बनाए जा रहे हिंदी भाषियों की स्थिति पर। त्रिपुरा में उपचुनाव के बाद कैसी है स्ट्रांग रूम की सुरक्षा। अग्निपथ स्कीम पर पूर्वोत्तर के किस शहर में हुआ प्रदर्शन। आखिर में देखेंगे नामांकन के बाद एनडीए की उम्मीदवार द्रौपदी मुर्मू ने विपक्षी नेताओं से क्या कहा। लेकिन इन सब से पहले नजर डालते हैं हेडलाइंस पर। महाराष्ट्र संकट की आग से तपी असम की सियासत। दिल्ली में बोले असम के मुख्यमंत्री, छुट्टी मनाने के लिए खुले हैं विधायकों के लिए असम के द्वार। प्रदेश कांग्रेस ने होटल के बाहर किया प्रदर्शन। असम में बाढ़ की विभीषिका से राहत नहीं, बराक घाटी में सबसे बुरा हाल। मृत्यु के पश्चात अंतिम संस्कार के लिए नहीं मिल रही जगह। 30 जिलों के 45 लाख से अधिक लोग प्रभावित। मणिपुर में एक बार फिर गैर मणिपुरी श्रमिक को बनाया गया निशाना। काकचिंग में घर में घुसकर मारी गोली, एक की मौत, एक अन्य घायल। त्रिपुरा में कड़ी सुरक्षा के बीच स्ट्रांग रूम में रखी गई ईवीएम। अगरतला और टाउन बरदौली के स्ट्रांग रूम में कड़ी निगरानी। 26 जून को होगी काउंटिंग। और एनडीए की राष्ट्रपति पद की उम्मीदवार द्रौपदी मुर्मू ने दाखिल किया नामांकन। नॉमिनेशन के दौरान मौजूद रहे भाजपा शासित राज्यों के सीएम द्रौपदी मुर्मू ने विपक्षी नेताओं से भी मांगा सहयोग। सबसे पहले रुक करते हैं महाराष्ट्र की राजनीति के। महाराष्ट्र की राजनीति में